Yo, what's going on, guys? It's DFS Hart, and today I'm breaking down the sixth Game NBA Slate that we have on February 1st. Before I get into that, I just want to say welcome to my channel. My name is Hart, and I make daily NBA, NFL, and PGA Slate breakdowns on Draftkings, where I'll be going over the best plays of the day and giving you some building blocks and core plays that you can put into your lineups. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell as it really helps out my channel. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at DFS Hart to keep updated on all things DFS. And as we saw last night, there was some, decently big breaking news. Drummond was out, Larry Nance was out, and so Seti was looking to be really good value for a while. But then they said Jared Allen and Torian Prince are starting, so then I tweeted that, Prince is a valuable play now for value. No more Seti. I do really like Allen. He's my favorite play in the Cavs. So you want to keep updated with his injury news and follow me so I can give you some good pivot plays as it managed to work out. And somehow I managed to cash with the 0 from MPJ. That was really annoying, that game being canceled 5 minutes before it started. No one to be able to switch off to because it was the last game of the day. But yeah, managed to get $5, which is nothing, but it's nice to see that your line can cash with the 0. Now let's get into it. We have the Raptors Magic 6-point spread, 214.5 over under. Grizzlies Indiana 4.5-point spread, 223 over under. Clippers Nets 1.5-point spread, 242 over under. Blazers Wizards 2.5-point spread, 240 over under. Pistons Jazz 12.5-point spread, 217.5 over under. And then Celtics Warriors 2.5 spread, 227 over under. Sorry if I'm stuttering today, guys. I need some more coffee. I'm tired for some reason. But on the Toronto side, we have Orlando versus the Raptors. Losing my mind. We got Pascal Siakam, Van Fleet, and Kyle Lowry all at the top. They're all good plays today. So today's slate is shaping up to be a stars and scrubs approach. That's what everyone's going to do. They're either going to game stack this Brooklyn and Clippers game or the Washington and Portland game, or they're going to mix and mingle pieces from those two teams and hope they have a huge point spread and point total. As we saw, Brooklyn's a terrible team. They've been getting up so many points. They're also scoring a ton. The Clippers can compete, so that game's going to be, huge. Washington, Portland, going to be no defense. That game's going to be huge offensively. So that's how it's shaping up to be. Either you can buy into that and look to get, different with a few different pieces, or you can go with a more balanced approach and get totally different and, target guys from this Orlando, Toronto game, or the Boston Golden State, or you can get really different and weird and go with the Detroit-Utah game, even though that's a 12-point spread, and just hope it stays close. So it's just more of your risk tolerance. I will say the stars and scrubs approach and targeting these two games will probably be the best way and easiest way for you to cash. But if you're looking to get different, maybe take down GPP, I will say you're going to need to get off some of those chalky guys, maybe, or at least play one or two. I'd say at least play one and then get different elsewhere, because I think there are a lot of strong plays, undervalued plays that will go off today. So now with my rant being over, Pascal firmly in play. He did well last game, same spot. Van Fleet did terrible. I think he started off with 18 fantasy points in the first quarter, ended up with 19 overall, so had a terrible game, but he's at 7-4. And Lowry had a good game. They're all firmly in play. I do really like them. It's just hard to get up to the stars if you're going to play some of these mid-tier 7K guys. It's just, how you want to attack the slate. OG out. Powell is questionable. If he's in, 6'4 is a little too high for him. I'd much rather play the other three guys. Boucher, just minutes-wise, they're not there right now. Aaron Baines, as I mentioned, in my last video, 4-3. His price tag has come up a little bit, but they're going to need his big body to guard Vooch. He played 29 minutes, got you 30 fantasy points. I think we can expect at least 25 to 30 minutes out of Aaron Baines again, so he's a decent option at 4-3. He is risky. I will say that he is risky, but he's a decent option just if he gets 30 minutes. Terrence Davis, if Powell is out and Terrence Davis starts again, you can definitely look to him at 4K. Be okay value. And then Watanabe, 3-7. He'll play 15, maybe 20 minutes. And if the game blows out, he could get you 25 minutes. He's a decent scorer, can get you some rebounds, so I don't mind it, 3-7. But yeah, I'd say just target one of the guys on the Raptors side because they're all in decent options, decent price range. Orlando, Vooch at the top, 8-2. Really underpriced. I don't know why his price came down a bit. So he will have some ownership, but I don't think he'll have a ton because people are going to want to pay up for the other studs on the slate in the higher scoring games. So I do really like Vooch at this price at 8-2. It did blow out a little bit last game, and they don't have Aaron Gordon, so they lose usage and points from him. So the blowout risk is there, but I just don't know how you can pass up Vooch at 8-2. So he's just in a great spot. Aaron Gordon out, as I mentioned. Fournier becomes a little bit more viable, but he's scoring dependent. Last 2 games, he hasn't been shooting the ball well or doing well. But he does have an upside, so you can definitely land on him if you want. Cole Anthony, 5'5". You can take a shot on him if you want. Not for me. Terrence Ross, 5'3". I'd say he's the second most valuable on this team now with Gordon gone. They're going to need his scoring. He's going to shoot a ton, probably play 30 to 35 minutes if he's doing well. So I do like Ross a decent amount. Birch is good value at 4-2. Going to get you about 30 minutes a game. Not a high usage guy, but actually going to get you about 25 minutes a game, sorry. Not a usage guy, but he can definitely get you some rebounds. Maybe some few assists, a couple blocks. So I don't mind him at 4-2. He's kind of like Baines. They're both in play at that price range. And then with Aaron Gordon out, you're going to want to look to a guy like Bacon, Ennis, or Clark. It depends on who starts. They're all relatively the same price. I think my favorites out of all 3 of them would maybe be Dwayne Bacon. 3-8. He's going to shoot the ball a decent amount when he's in. He'll probably get at least 25 minutes, I'd say. That doesn't mean he's going to do well. As we saw this Brooklyn game, 29, got you 10 points, and that was it. But at 3-8, I do think this is a decent matchup for him to be able to get you, enough to pay off his salary. But if he doesn't start, maybe look to a guy like Ennis if his restriction's off. But if he still has his minutes restriction, I wouldn't look to Ennis. You can take a shot on a guy like Gary Clark. Low usage guy. Going to play about 25, maybe close to 30 minutes now. Can hit the 3, but I don't know if you have to go there. It just depends on their starting lineup. Clippers, Brooklyn, highest scoring game according to Vegas for today. As we know, the Nets play no defense. They're good at offense, so the Clippers will probably be the same. They'll probably, play no defense, a lot of offense, but we'll have to see. Kawhi Leonard, really like him at 9-2. One of the best plays of the day. Great price, great matchup. Excuse me. Definitely looked at Kawhi Leonard. Paul George, 8-9, same thing. He's a little bit less consistent than Kawhi, but this is a great matchup going against Brooklyn, who plays no defense. So definitely, you're going to want to get at least 1 or 2 pieces from this Nets Clippers game in the Portland Washington game, or if you want to be different, get off the chalk, target the great plays in all the other games like a Vooch, Sabonis, Jason Tatum. It just depends how you want to attack this slate. We got Serge, 6K. Not for me. Batum, if he's in 5-2, not for me. Reggie Jackson with Pat Bev being out. He is, 5.1K. He will be overlooked, I think, a little bit. Going to play about 25, maybe close to 30 minutes if this game is high scoring. I think he's a decent option. Has the ability to get you 25 plus fantasy points. A lot of usage is going to go to guys like Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, but he's a decent third option in that starting lineup. So I do like Reggie Jackson a decent amount. Zubac, 5-1, no. And then you can take shots at guys like Marcus Morris Sr. He's at 4-7. He played, I think, 28 minutes last game. Yep, 28 minutes. So you get about 28 to maybe 30. Not a high usage guy, just usually getting you some scoring, maybe a few rebounds, but you can definitely take a shot, especially if this game ends up being a shootout. You're gonna want a few pieces, and that's why I say you could definitely take a shot on a guy like Lou Williams, 4-5. He's been bad this year. His minutes have been up and down, but he has the ability to absolutely break the slate if he's playing well. in a shootout game like this, where the Nets play zero defense, I think it's shaping up for Lou Will to be very low owned and have the ability to absolutely go off. So I think I might risk it and play him. On the Brooklyn side, with all three of the superstars in, it's hard to decide who to go to. I'd say that the safest is Kevin Durant. He has the minutes, the shooting ability. He can get you rebounds and assists, so I do like him the most out of the three of them at 10-1. And then the second play would be obviously Kyrie at 8.8. He's the cheapest of the bunch. This game's going to be a shootout. He does lose some assists and rebounding ability when all three of them are in and becomes a little bit more scoring reliant. But at 8.8, he's got that safe floor of like at least 40 fantasy points, if not more. So I'm fine with you landing on him. And then if you want to take a shot on Harden, you can. He is almost 11K. He does give up some usage when all three of them play. He kind of defers. He becomes more of like the point guard, dishes out assists, but doesn't really look to shoot a ton. So I don't know if you have to do it, even with the low ownership he'll get. Joe Harris not in play with everyone back. Jeff Green is the fourth option on this team now. With his minutes, he's got about 30 minutes a game. Had a good game last game, shot the ball well. I don't think we can expect that again. He'll probably get you 20 to 30 fantasy points. But if this game shoots out, he has the ability to go for more, especially Joe Harris. So my favorite plays on this side are definitely Durant, then Kyrie, and then Jeff Green. But if you think it's going to be a shootout, you can definitely target guys like Joe Harris, good shooter, and a guy like Harden, very, very low owned. Memphis, Indiana. We got John Morant at the top, 7-5. Memphis has just been so weird. They're playing like a 12 to 15 man rotation. I know the game blew out last game, but there's just guys coming off the bench who are just getting a ton of run, like D'Anthony Melton. But Ja got hurt, so he lost a few minutes. But the game blew out, lost a few minutes because of that. But before that, we only saw 28 minutes, 22 this game. It's just his minutes are in question. I think we can expect at least 30. 7.5 is the okay price for him. I just don't know if he had to go there. I'd much rather play guys on like the Toronto side, or pay up a little bit for like a Jason Tatum, or pay down for a Reggie Jackson at the guard spot. It's just he'll be a low owned, but I don't think he had to do it. J-Val is questionable. If he's back, it takes away some minutes and usage from guys like Clark, Anderson, and Brooks. At that price, you can definitely take a shot on him. It's not the best matchup against Indiana, but he'll be low owned. We'll just have to wait and see. Maybe he'll have a minutes restriction. So that's why you want to follow me on Twitter at DFSHart, as I'll give you some, viable options if he's in or if he's out, who you want to target. Brandon Clark, 6'2", you can target him, but if J-Val is coming back, he'll lose some minutes. Brooks, not for me. Anderson, not for me. Tillman, good option at 5-1. He's going to play about 25 minutes to 30 if the game stays close. He's been pretty solid, defensively, rebounding-wise, so I do like him at 5-1, even in this matchup. I think this game has ability to stay close. And then Deng, I mentioned in my past videos, he's a better scorer and offensively than Tillman. As we saw the past two games, 15 points, 19 points, 33 fantasy points, 34 fantasy points. So I do really like him in the spot. He's shooting the ball well, but I think you can definitely look back to Gorgie Deng. He's probably going to play 25-ish minutes, maybe a little bit more, depending on how Tillman is doing. So I don't mind if you choose Deng over Tillman, one of those two bigs. And then D'Anthony Melton and Tyus Jones, they're viable. Melton has been the better player. He's averaged 25 minutes over the past 4 games. Playing extremely well. I do think he will lose some minutes, though, if Grayson Allen's back. But he can definitely be a GPP dart throw. He'll have a little bit of ownership just because people will be chasing his box score. But at 4-5, you can definitely take a shot. I don't know if I'll chase it. I think he'll fail today. So, yeah, this Memphis side is just not really for me. I do like Ja and then one of the two bigs of Tillman or Dieng, but that's about it. Indiana. We had Sabonis at 8-7. He's extremely underpriced. I don't know why he's so low. Makes no sense. So he's firmly in play. I think he's my favorite play on the slate today. I don't think he'll have as high ownership as the other guys who are priced up, the other superstars. So I think he's in the absolute smash spot against Memphis. Same with Brogdon and Turner. They're both, Brogdon's got 40 fantasy points or more the past 4 games. Going to play a ton of minutes, high usage. Really like him at 7-9 in the spot. His price came down. Turner, lower floor, get you in the 20s, or he can get you into the 50s if he's playing really well. So he's a decent GPP play at 6'8". The last guy I mentioned is Jeremy Lamb, 5'4", playing about 30 minutes a game. Not a ton of usage, but he is a decent scorer. Can get you rebounds, assists, maybe some blocks or steals. So it's not a bad price for him, and it's a decent matchup. So you can go to Jeremy Lamb at 5'4" if you want. I'd just much rather play Sabonis or Brogdon and then take a shot on Turner. But if you want some salary relief, you can definitely go down to 5'4" for Jeremy Lamb. Portland, Washington, going to be the second highest scoring game of the slate, according to Vegas. Dame is firmly in play at 10-7. Him and Russ have beef. They're both going to want to do really well. I think this game might be the highest scoring total on the slate. I think this Brooklyn and Nets game might be bad. I think because the Clippers are good defensively. So I think they might stifle the Nets a little bit. Maybe the Nets don't hit their shots. Maybe the Clippers don't hit their shots, and it's just a low-scoring game. So you can maybe bank on that a little bit. But Portland, Washington, they're just going to absolutely chuck shots. So Dame has the ability to go off. He is pricey, but I do like him. Enes Kanter is in a good spot as well at 6'9". Should be plenty of rebound opportunities for him. I don't think any of the bigs on Washington are going to be able to handle him down low. So I do really like the spot for Enes at 6'9". Probably play about 30 to 35 minutes. Great spot. Gary Trent and the rest of these wings are not for me. I mean, you could take a shot on a guy like Covington or Nasir Little. Nasir Little had a huge game last game, but that's because it blew out and he played 30 minutes, shot the ball 18 times. If he's going to start again, I will say he is viable at 3-1. Now, I don't think he'll shoot 18 times again. I don't think he'll play 30 minutes. I think he'll play about 20 to 25 if he's doing well. But at 3-1, if he's hitting his shots, he is a high motor guy, so he can get you rebounds and some assists and some steals. So I wouldn't mind using Nasir Little. He's small forward, power forward eligible as some salary relief as a punt play. But yeah, these wings, there's just so many of them. They're losing minutes. Gary Trent is the best option out of all of them, but I think you just rather want to play, Lillard, Enes Kanter, or just take the punt play with Nasir Little. Washington, Beal at 9-9. We know what we're going to get from him, ton of points. I think he's averaging 26 a game, and he's gotten more than 26 points a game every game so far this season. So he's a great scorer. Going to play a ton of minutes. Great matchup for him. He will be one of the low-owned superstars on the day. People are going to flock to the Clippers guys or the Nets guys or like Russ. Russ is probably going to be the highest-owned player on today's slate at 9-1, and for good reason. Put up 71 against the Nets last game. His minutes are there. Probably going to play 35 to 40. Triple-double upside. Doesn't like Dame. They're going to go at each other. So Russ shaping up to be the best play of the day at 9-1. Going to be huge. Very popular, but I'm fine with you going to him. Hachimura, not for me. I do really like Bertans at 4-7. I think he'll be low-owned. He's scoring dependent, as we see. Low floor if he's not hitting shots, but this is a perfect matchup for him to chuck and do really, really well. So I do like him at 4-7. Ish Smith had a good game last game. You can go there if you want, but I think that's just chasing. Same with Mo Wagner. You can chase with him if you want. Not for me. I just much rather take a shot on Beal, Russ, or Bertans. Boston, Golden State. I think this game has the ability to be really good. High scoring. I really like Tatum at the top. Same with Brown. If Kemba has no minutes limit, he is a decent option. But I think they'll still restrict him. So definitely look to Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown if you want to get different from the other superstars on the slate and get a good piece from a good scoring, good team, good scorers. So I do really like both of them at the top. Theis, you can take a shot on him at 5K. He's had some decent upside. I don't know if you have to do it. I'd much rather play the other centers on this slate. Jeff Teague will get a little bit more run now that Marcus Smart is out. But they also like to play like guys like Sime Ojeleye, Neesmith. They might throw in a guy like Carson Edwards to take some minutes away. So I don't think you have to go to any of the value guys. You can take a shot on a guy like Robert Williams at 3.5. It is a decent matchup for him. Tristan Thompson's minutes have been trending down. He'll play about 15 to 20-ish. So, I mean, he can get you there easily if he's getting 20 minutes. It just depends. So, we'll see. My favorite plays on this side are Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And then you can take a dart throw on a guy like Robert Williams. Golden State side, Steph at 9.6. Going to be low owned. People are going to flock to those other games, as I mentioned before. But he has the ability to absolutely go off, destroy the slate. So I'm fine with you landing on Steph if you want to get off like a chalky Russ or like Kyrie and, Durant. Steph is a great pivot off of those guys. Wiggins and Oubre, they're in play at their prices. I just never like playing them. They're kind of like capped at like 25 to 35 fantasy points. But they do have the ability to do, better. If you think this game's going to stay close and be a shootout, I say it'd be a decent option to game stack this game and pick one Wiggins or Oubre with Steph, but I don't think it's necessary. Draymond Green is questionable, and so is Pascal. Pascal had those back spasms and then played the second half of the last game, so I think he'll be fine, but this is something you have to keep an eye out on for. If Draymond's out, that's going to give some more run to guys like Pascal, Looney. They'll probably have to go small ball because Wiseman is out, so they're going to have to play guys maybe like Damian Lee more, Bazemore more. So this is just a team you have to keep an eye out for. It sucks because they do play at 9 p.m., so it's going to be hard to pivot off the guys, but that might be worth the risk. Waiting until 8:45, seeing what the news is, and then playing guys depending on that, or having guys in your lineup. So it's just tough. You have to keep an eye on that. I don't know if a lot of people will do that. A lot will look to the value of these Golden State side, but it could pay off and be huge to get off the other chalky value if you wait, but it's pretty risky. And then the last side of the day, we got Detroit, Utah. We got Jeremy Grant at top 7K. I mean, it's a great price for him. The matchup's bad, 12.5 point spread. Maybe because Detroit was supposed to play Denver, and they canceled that game. So maybe something weird happens with Detroit now, where they cancel the game just because maybe one of their players has a false positive. Who knows? We'll have to see. But it's gonna be a very low owned, game. I don't like this game. Sorry, I'm rambling, but it's 12.5 point spread. They'll probably get blown out, but if you think it stays close, Jeremy Grant's a smash spot at 7K. DeLon Wright not for me. Blake Griffin not for me. Plumlee, they will need him to guard the Stifle Tower, so he is firmly in play at 5K. I think he'll have a little bit of ownership just because he has the ability to get closer to 40 fantasy points if he's playing about 30 minutes a game, which I do expect from this game. So I think he's a decent option. And then Isaiah Stewart, if you think this game's going to blow out, he'll probably play 15, closer to 20, if not more minutes. He's a decent value option. It's just hard to get to him because he's only center eligible, and you could play guys like Sabonis, Turner, Vooch. So he's like the 5th best play center-wise. Or you could play a guy like Gobert and hope it stays close. So it's just hard to get down to a guy like Isaiah Stewart. But on this side, I do really like Jeremy Grant for his price if you think it stays close, as well as Mason Plumlee. And then you can take a shot on a guy like Stewart. On this Utah side, if you want to get to someone, you can. They'll all be low-owned. Mitchell's great GPP play, so it's Gobert. Conley's a little bit, probably the most consistent on the team. Bogdan's scoring dependent. Same with Jordan Clarkson. So, if you want low-owned guys that have the ability to, break the slate, I say Utah is your team and Detroit. But you just got to hope it stays close, and I don't think it does. So I'll end this video with some core plays. I'll go the chalky route, I guess. So we'll start with Russ. And then I do think you're going to want to get one of the guys from the Clippers side. Say Kawhi. And then this Portland-Washington game. I'd say you can get a piece like Bertans. And let's see. Let's see if we can throw in Sabonis. So I think that is a decent option. You get Russ in this Washington-Portland game. You get Kawhi in this Nets-Clippers game. And then you get Sabonis in a great matchup against Memphis. And you also get that secondary piece of Bertans on the Washington side who has the ability to go off. So I think that's more core for right now. Obviously, it can change. It can change later in the day with the value that comes out, but we'll have to see. So I just want to say thank you for tuning in and coming to my channel. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell as it really helps me and my channel grow.